Well, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. So, I'm Lailatul Fitria for English department, especially for reading class. Here, I would like to share my analysis of novel. It's about the little letters of God. Alright, the first is about the background of the problem. Literature is a medium for the expressing the other's thoughts. Literally, works are imaginative, aesthetic, and pleasing to the reader. This is in line with the monos that literary works are created by others or writers to be enjoyed, understood, and utilized by the community in life. Not only for the community, but the work is very useful for the other, as we know that the Indonesian nation is a nation that is very virtuous, friendly, and also unpretentious. Maybe the nickname is not longer a pride for this nation, because in fact there are no such sweet nicknames for the Indonesian people. In the past, Indonesia was a country that was famous for its people who were very friendly, ethical, polite, and well-behaved. Not all Indonesian people are immoral, but we need to remember that these things have a very big impact if there is no improvement. Therefore, and not only seen from the other people, but we can also apply them to ourselves. Moral is conveyed to the reader through a work of fiction is certainly very useful, not only for that, the morals contained in the novel Letter to God will be very useful for the reader. The morals shown in this novel are closely related to the problem of human relations with the other humans. For the example, the value of affection between parents to their children. The next is about discussion. So the purpose of literary works of the pragmatic dimension is a successful literary work is a literary work that is considered capable of providing pleasure and value. As with pragmatics, which is a means to convey certain goals to the reader. It includes to the other and the readers so that the reader dominates over than the others. Therefore, the process of communication and understanding of literary works influences and determines the reader's attitude towards the literary work he encounters. So the following are things about content in the study from the novel Surat Kencil Untuk Tuhan. It's about, first is about moral definition in literary work in general. The first is moral definition in literary works. Generally, the meaning of moral itself is the generally expected teachings of good and bad regarding actions, attitudes, obligations, and moral and characters. The purpose of literary works in this case is to convey a message to the reader to continue to preserve good morals in life together. From this understanding, there is a moral message that very life will certainly not be spared from the other of life, regulations and prohibitions that have been mutually agreed upon in social life. Therefore, each individual generation must maintain and properly preserve the existing orders and prohibition. The second is kind of morals in literature. If fiction contains an overt moral to readers, of course, there are many types of forms of moral teachings that are ordered. In a long work of fiction, there is often more than one moral message. The type of form of the moral message contained in a literary work will depend on the beliefs, desires, and interests of the other concerned. The four aspects of life include the human relationship with God, the human relationship with oneself, and the human relationship with the natural environment. The behavior of human relation with themselves is classified in all forms of moral teachings relate to individual as a person who shows the existences of the individual with various attitudes attached to him. Human behavior with God is reflected in the individual in carrying out life with all these problems. The third, moral of main characters in literature. The Dictionary of Indonesian is generally expected good and bad teachings regarding actions, attitude, obligations, moral, and character. This means that the other convey moral message to the reader through literary works, both direct and indirect delivery. The moral of the main character is the teaching of good and bad that is carried out by the main character in the literary work itself. And the fourth is character. The character of the story, according to Abrams, is a person who is shown in narrative work or drama, which is interpreted by the reader as having certain moral qualities and tendencies as expressed and speech and word is done in action. The difference between one character and other is determined by personal quality rather than physically. According to Riyadmi 2006, the characters are the actors is affection. Characters is affection are others' creations, although they can also be deceptions of people who live in the real world. And fifth, form of moral delivery. When compared with other means of communication, written or oral, literally work which are a form of art that affect carrying an aesthetic purpose. Of course, they have own specificity in terms of conveying moral message. However, in fact, the election was only for the sake of practicality because there may be messages that are somewhat direct. In novel itself, it's possible to find messages that are really hidden so that not many people can feel them, but there may also be ones that are rather direct and seem to be highlighted. Next is about ongoing delivery. The form of delivering a moral message that is direct, it can be said, is identical to the way of depicting the character of the characters, that is descriptive, telling, or expository. The other, in this case, appears to be patronizing to the reader, directly giving this advice and advice. Literature is an aesthetic work that has a function to intend, to give emotional and also intellectual pleasure. Moral messages that are direct usually feel forced and less coherent with other elements. Direct moral message can also be involved with the story, the characters of the story, and also the plot of the story. Then for the next is advertent personation. When compared with the previous form, the form of delivering the moral message here is indirect. Although it is true that the other wants to over and convey something he doesn't do immediately and vulgarly, because he is aware that he has chosen the storyline. This means that the reader may not necessarily be able to catch what the other really means. At least the possible of misinterpretation has a high chance. However, this is very natural. Even an essential thing in literary works, the relationship that occurs between the author and the other reader in indirect and implied. Okay, so I think enough for this all. I do apologize if I have many wrong from my word, and thank you so much. Telah saya say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.